This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories, and welcome to my recap and review of Ahsoka Season 1, Part 8, titled The Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord. Obviously, there will be spoilers. If you have not watched the episode yet, I highly recommend that you go and watch it. And also, just to let you know that the thumbnail is temporary. I do have a thumbnail that I want to use, but I feel like it's a little too spoilery. It is not super spoilery. There'll be spoilers from this point on, but it is going to have Ezra's rebuilt lightsaber. And even though that's in the first minute of the few minutes of the episode, I think it's something I don't want to ruin yet. But this thumbnail will be updated on Friday to include Ezra's lightsaber. So I just want to let you know of that. The thumbnail is going to be on the screen right now, and I also will have a post about this on the community tab. Obviously not with the thumbnail, but just to tell people of this. But now let's go straight into it. After loading the Chimera, Grand Admiral Thrawn goes to talk with the Great Mothers and thank them for their partnership. And the Great Mothers thank Thrawn for all of his help, and now want to thank Morgan Elsbeth for her help. They go and ask her to cast aside her old life, and they will give her a great power. Morgan goes with this and is granted greater power by the Great Mothers, and they give her a blade that once belonged to Mother Talzin. Staying with the locals for now, Ezra is on board the shuttle constructing a new lightsaber with the assistance of Hu Yang, who gives him a hilt that is identical to the one that his master Kanan Jarrus used. And Hu Yang says that he saved it aside for a special occasion and believes that it is that occasion now. Ezra thanks him for it and completes the construction of his new lightsaber. Sabine talks about Kanan and how he trained Ezra, and after igniting his new lightsaber and looking at its blue blade, he turns to talk to Sabine, but she's already left outside of the ship. There she talks to Ahsoka, and the two discuss many things, and how Ahsoka does not feel betrayed by Sabine even though she went against her wishes. She says how Anakin was always there for her, even when she made decisions he didn't agree with, and that she should do the same for Sabine. Sabine thanks her for this, and Ezra comes out to tell him that he is ready and has his new lightsaber constructed, but a pair of TIE fighters sent by Thrawn attack the shuttle, and with their defenses down, Ahsoka and Ezra are forced to jump to ground to use the Force to have the shuttle not crush the villagers. As Sabine goes inside to make repairs with Hu Yang, they try their best, but the TIEs continue to attack, and Sabine knows only one way to deal with it. She uses the power of the ship to get one burst of energy, ramming through the TIEs. It does manage to destroy them, but also causes the ship to crash, and Ahsoka and Ezra quickly run up to see if she has been injured. Captain Enoch reports to Thrawn and tells him that the TIE fighters have been destroyed, but did report they managed to hit the Jedi shuttle before they lost contact. Thrawn is able to deduce that the shuttle has been decommissioned, at least for now, and they'll be forced to have to go for a ground assault, and informs his troops to be prepared. Hu Yang, along with their local allies, begin to work on the shuttle as Ahsoka, Sabine, and Ezra go to prevent the Chimera and Eye of Sion from escaping. Thrawn, meanwhile, alongside Morgan, goes and orders a group of troopers to what seems to be their deaths, and they point out that the troopers know what they're getting into and accept it. Thrawn then says that it'll be likely that they will not be enough and will need some more to fend them off, and Morgan agrees to, if needed, defend the Chimera from the Jedi, holding them off as long as possible. The Jedi reached the location of the temple and witness as the Eye of Sion comes closer and closer to the Chimera. They run off to battle after Ezra tells a little of the history he had after he made it to this planet. And Thrawn, knowing that he won't be able to compromise with the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker, knowing Anakin and his apprentice would be similar, he orders for the turbo lasers of the Chimera to open fire, and the Jedi are able to dodge through the fire and eventually make it inside of the temple. There they are confronted by an army of night troopers, which they easily manage to cut through, and not knowing that this is a trap, they continue on in, but the Great Mothers go and begin a chant and to use their magics to revive the troopers that Ahsoka turns around and sees beginning to rise. They go and try to fight these undead troopers, but can't manage to keep them down. With every attack they do, only slowing them down. They are forced to move forward and try to flee from them, closing every door that they can behind them. At this time, the docking procedure between the Eye of Sion and the Chimera begins. As the troopers break through the first door, the Jedi continue to flee until they make it to a room where Morgan Elsbeth waits for them. Ahsoka tells Ezra and Sabine to go and prevent Thrawn's escape and she will deal with Morgan. Although they do protest, Ahsoka tells them it is more important and they leave. The battle between Ahsoka and Morgan begins as Ezra and Sabine manage to make it to the top of the temple, but there they are attacked by two undead death troopers and they are doing their best to fight against them, but quickly realize that none of their attacks are doing anything to harm them. Thrawn, with the docking of the Chimera complete, orders for the Chimera and the Eye of Sion to leave this planet, and Sabine, who is being held up by the undead Death Trooper, reaches out and once again attempts to use the Force, this time succeeding. She pulls her lightsaber to her hand, igniting it. She manages to take out the Death Trooper and realizes that the weakness is the head. She then gives a small distraction for Ezra to regain his lightsaber, which he did lose while fighting his Death Trooper, and he uses his lightsaber to decapitate the trooper he is fighting. The undead Night Troopers manage to reach the position of Ahsoka and Morgan and force Ahsoka to retreat. She heads up to the top of the temple with the Night Troopers and Morgan in pursuit as Ezra and Sabine attempt to board the Chimera, but quickly see that the gap is too large for them to cross. Sabine tells Ezra that if she manages to use the Force to push him, she'll be able to get him across and he'll be able to pull her across. Ezra is doubtful, but Sabine tells him to do it because every second they wait, it'll become harder and harder. Ezra agrees, and going back a little bit, He uses a running start to jump as far as possible, and Sabine uses the Force to push him across the gap. And he boards the Chimera, where he easily dispatches the two troopers that are waiting for him there. Now Sabine goes and prepares to make her run, but sees that Ahsoka has now reached the upper level where she is being pursued by Morgan Elsbeth and many of the undead night troopers. And Morgan Elsbeth has the night troopers stand back as she goes to finish Ahsoka herself. The fight is fairly evenly matched, even though Morgan did manage to destroy one of Ahsoka's lightsabers. Morgan uses the slight distraction Ahsoka gets from seeing the Chimera making it away to push her advantage, and pushing her back, Morgan says how it is completely hopeless, that all hope is lost, and Ahsoka is now on her own. But Sabine comes out and says that she'll be there with her and attacks the night troopers as Ahsoka continues to battle Morgan and is able to cut her down. Thrawn is told of Morgan's sacrifice, and knowing it was necessary, Thrawn accepts it and orders him to continue on. Ezra now watches back as Ahsoka and Sabine are battling the night troopers, and going down to the body of one of the troopers he took out, he learns this trooper's TK number and uses this alongside the trooper's armor to be able to impersonate this trooper until he returns to the galaxy on the Chimera. And Thrawn orders for the Chimera to destroy the temple, and as it opens fire, Ahsoka and Sabine run for the ledge and jump off. They manage to land on the shuttle, which has been fully repaired by Hu Yang and the locals. They begin their pursuit of the Chimera and do their best to catch it, but they are contacted by Thrawn, who begins to gloat with his victory and tells them that he has already won, and he is disappointed he didn't get to meet Ahsoka in person since he did know her master, and wonders if she will fall down the same path that he did. As the Eye of Sion and Chimera jump to hyperspace, leaving Ahsoka and Sabine stranded in this new galaxy. The two return to the locals and prepare to move out with them and stay with them for at least the time being. As Ahsoka sees the Convor Morai that always follows her around, flying around, which reassures her that this is where she should be. Meanwhile, Shin returns to the village of raiders to take a place of leadership with them, and Balin goes to a statue to look out for the greater power he seeks. It turns out that this is a statue of the father of Mortis, with a statue of the son to his left, and on his right, it seems that there is a statue that once was of the daughter but has been destroyed. The Eye of Sion and the Chimera exit from hyperspace and make it to the world of Dathomir for the Great Mothers to reclaim Dathomir as theirs. Meanwhile, the shuttle of Balin and Shin approaches the New Republic fleet, and a small army led by Hera is there. Out steps a night trooper, and although all are tense, Chopper comes up to him, and knowing it's Ezra, Ezra takes off the helmet and greets them all, with them being glad to be home and having been reunited with Hera. Ahsoka and Sabine begin to discuss things, and Sabine apologizes for betraying Ahsoka. Ahsoka says that she has forgiven her and that they have to deal with their position now. Ezra is back in the galaxy and gives a chance for the New Republic to deal with Thrawn. And Sabine then says that she feels something in the Force that she's not sure of. And they both turn around to leave, not knowing that the Force ghost of Anakin Skywalker watches as his former apprentice goes off. And yeah, honestly, I love this finale. I don't have too many problems with it. I do wonder how the Night Sisters were able to get the blade of Mother Talzin, who was never in this galaxy, and I think that, although we could have an explanation, probably will never be explained since it's probably never going to be seen again. But yeah, honestly, I really enjoyed the finale, and I really enjoyed the season overall. I think that they did a great job with it, and I was always interested to see what was next. This definitely was a great season, and is personally my second favorite Disney Star Wars movie or show, with the first being Andor. And yeah, honestly, I really wasn't disappointed. I think that they did a lot of interesting stuff with this. I do like that Ezra did get a lightsaber, and that I think it could have been cool if we saw Sabine build her own, but I think that she's not really at that stage yet. And I like how Ezra has this connection to Kanan having a hilt that is identical to, or a hilt emitter that's identical to Kanan's, and that's a cool inclusion. I also saw the first time a lightsaber's been constructed in live action, at least in a non-deleted scene, since it was shown in a deleted scene to Return of the Jedi. I also really loved the reference to Mortis, and honestly, that was a really cool thing to see. There was also so many other just really awesome moments. I liked Ezra being able to return to the galaxy and reunite with Hera. That was a nice little scene. I think Thrawn was done really well and got the victory he needed. Although it could have been interesting if he killed off a character he didn't need to. And I think him escaping and leaving Ahsoka and Sabine stranded is interesting. I'm really disappointed we didn't get any speaking lines and really anything with Balin or Shin, who have been really amazing in this. And sadly, we won't see Balin at least played by Ray Stevenson anymore. And I think honestly, if they do need to recast, because it seems that Balin will be the main threat to season 2, where they'll be stuck in this new galaxy and have to deal with both him and Shin. But since Shin has nowhere close to the same level of skill as Ahsoka, Balin will be the clear threat. I also didn't fully love how Sabine has Force sensitivity now, and I don't really have any problems with it, but also it isn't my favorite decision ever. So yeah, honestly, I am fine with it, but do wish that they didn't go with that path and could have had something else. I also loved the undead night troopers, and they felt truly terrifying and like a real threat. It was really cool to see them just keep getting back up and for them to really only be taken out by headshots. And I think people might see this as a plot hole that the two troopers, Ezra took out didn't come back. I think it was just cast on the troopers that were down there and no one else, and wouldn't have been put to the Chimera since they didn't think that it would be breached and thought they were away by now. So I think that does make sense. I do wonder how Ezra was able to escape, but the shuttle was at the front of the hangar, so you probably could have done it pretty easily. I just honestly really think it would be more helpful and honestly less suspenseful for Ezra to come out of the shuttle without the stormtrooper armor on. But I think they just wanted to build, a little suspense, even though we all knew what was going on, and Ezra was probably, just messing with them, which I think is something he would do. And I really loved Thrawn in this. As I said before, I like that he got the win, and references to some of the canon stuff with him knowing Anakin Skywalker, and all but confirming that he knew Anakin became Vader, which is just a really great moment and connects to Zahn's books. In fact, I hope we get another trilogy from Zahn explaining what happened to Ezra and Thrawn in the New Galaxy on Peridia. I'm sure Zahn would do it because he loves his Thrawn books, and we already have two trilogies, and a third one would be really awesome to have. So, wouldn't be complaining if we got that. And yeah, honestly, I really loved everything about this. They did such a great job, and I just really loved the season overall. As I said, this is probably my second favorite original Disney Star Wars content after the first season of Andor, and it'll technically stay there because I'll count all of Andor, at least for now. So when season two of that comes out, I don't think it's going to change much. But I do think that season two of this does have a chance to be pushing it up a little bit more, but don't know if we'll be able to push past Andor for me personally. But yeah, honestly, I had a really great time with this. It was such an incredible journey, and I so hope we get a season two. It seems like it is likely, since there was a few things that I saw after I finished this while I was just grabbing some of the footage and listening to some other stuff in the background, where they said that there was a thing where Disney corrected a post from saying it was a series to season finale, and there's some other talk that a season two was possible. I still hope it is because I really want to see it continued. And even though I don't think anyone could truly replace Balin as a character, I think he does need to be recast to continue this story. And I think that having Abeloth involved is a lot more likely with the Mortis gods being shown in this. And I think that the fact the daughter isn't there in statue form will be reference to how potentially Ahsoka will be taking the place as the daughter, with her being connected to it. And it was also awesome to see Morai come, and it's clear Morai could just follow her wherever because there's no way Morai could drive the Purrgil or anything. So, yeah, honestly, I want to know what you think. Please let me know in the comments. And I'll see you all in the next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.